All right, folks. Hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. How is everybody? Hi, Jolie. Hello, hello. Hi, Karen. Hello, Molly. Hi, Linda. Okay, so you guys are starting to come on. Perfect. Okay, so a few announcements. Hi, Sarah. We do have Kimberbell Day this Saturday. So again, that is a free event to come to the stores where we watch the Kimberbell presentation for their Kimberbell Day. Sorry, my nose is like really itchy and I'm trying to like not all be up in my face. So that is, again, a free event to come to the store and to participate and to watch. And, you know, we'll have our goodies and our fun stuff and all of that. But we do ask for you to sign up just so that we know to expect you, and make sure that we have enough things. We are also... Nancy is having her Floriani Club on that same day as well. So that is a virtual Floriani tutorial class. It's held monthly to kind of just get more familiar with the software itself. And then on the 30th, so a week from tomorrow, we have our Baby Lock Club with Kate and Patrick. And then I think we've announced it. An email has definitely been sent out, but we have changed our Bernina Club date from the first Wednesday to the first Friday. So that means that August's class is going to be on August 1st and not the 6th. Okay. And then because we had to change that, I had to change my Potluck Pals class that I'm doing for our biennial projects. And so that changed from the 1st to the 5th. Okay. So kind of a little switcheroo on you guys. So sorry about that. But Bernina Club the 1st, Potluck Pals the 5th. Okay. And then that week we have, in August on the 7th and the 8th, we have our 2-day hands-on event with OESD called Stitch Trip, which I happen to have. I think she needs a name. But here are our samples for this lovely event. Okay, so we've got the hat that we're doing the embroidery on, the scarf, and then we've got the luggage tag. I did not remember about the zipper pouch. I'm pretty sure I've never mentioned that, but we've got the lovely zipper pouch and the postcard. So 5 awesome projects, and I love that we're stitching on so many different types of things. So that, again, that is the 7th and the 8th of August, and then that's a $149. I think there might be like 2 spots available, so if you've been thinking about it, definitely want to get signed up because this morning there were only 2 seats left. So that's $149 for the 2-day hands-on. It includes your all of your blanks, you know, pretty much everything for you, like actually everything for you. So get signed up for that. And then on the 9th, we are also hosting a hoop camp, which is also done by OESD and Dime, I believe. And so if you attend the 2-day hands-on, you're going to get that hoop camp, which is just taught as a lecture for free. And if you are not taking the 2-day hands-on, then the hoop camp is $40. Okay. Hey Momo. Yeah. I printed something. Do you mind grabbing it for me off the printer? Thank you. So while Mo is grabbing that, we're going to talk a little bit about the Americana Stars. So, which is the 4 projects that I showed last week. Kate has also talked about them also, where they are basically the next quilt seeds collection that we're working on here in the stores. Mo did, no, it's okay, I'll walk over there later. Mo did a great job in stitching the 4 out. And we did talk last week about potentially offering a fabric kit. So we did the math, did all of figuring that out. And so I'm just trying to get an interest list at this point to see if all that cutting is going to make it worth it. Okay, so again, the fabric kit would include all of the piecing fabrics and your binding for all 4 projects, but it would be about $95. So wanted to just double check if you're interested in it. I can't promise it to you right now, but if you're interested in it, put your name down, and we'll kind of see what interest we get to see if we want to. Okay, Melody, I see you. Sorry if I don't write it down now, I'm never going to remember it. So, so about $95 for the 4 projects. It won't include your backing, but backing's backing, right? So just let us know if you are interested in something like that. And I will, once we kind of get established in doing today's project, or at the end, I will walk over there and I'll show you those projects again. Okay. The thing that I did ask Mo, which I just curled up, off the printer, is the new Baby Lock Radiance embroidery unit trolley. It's a lot of words. So this tote matches the black quilted luggage set. Okay, so here is a lovely picture. And this one actually has its own set of wheels because that embroidery arm is gigantic. So it is fully priced, which I'm sure this is backwards for you. So let me flick this back this way so you can read it with me. Okay, so it is $6.49 at the full price. We do have it on sale at the minimum price that we're allowed to show it at, which is $5.99. Okay, so this is it on sale. We do have some options for trade-in, but you would need to call the store for that because we cannot advertise that. Okay, but we do have some options if you have like your Solaris one, to get some additional sales on that for a trade. Okay, so let us know if you want to do that. We do have this up on the website for you to purchase, but again, if you have a trade that you want to take advantage of, you'll need to call the stores for that. Okay, let me get my cute little giveaway. So we have a little fishy drawstring bag here that we did for a kids project. So this is going to go to Miss Phyllis Evely, and we will have it here. Yep, Nancy, I have your name down. Yes, Birdie, the carrier does look awesome, and I love that it's, yeah, they've done a great job with this last set of luggage. It's just so professional looking. So yeah, they did a great job. It's beautiful. Patty, yes, I will show you those projects. You know what, I'll just cover you guys up so I can walk because it's totally on the other side of the store. Okay, and then I'll show you these 4 projects here. So again, we've shown the patterns. The patterns are a 4-pack for the 4 different toppers. Okay. Okay. So these are the 4 Americana Star toppers. They finish at 28 inches. And we were trying to figure out how much a fabric kit would be. The fabric kits for all 4 projects would be about $95 for all the piecing fabrics and your binding. However, there is an optional, basically like a bonus pattern in each package that shows you how to put all 4 stars into one quilt. So the fabric kit will not create that. It will just create the 4 individual toppers. Okay? Okay. All right, I'm going to cover you back up so we can go back up to the machine. Alrighty. So today's project is from a book called Patchwork Braids. That might be far back enough. Okay, so it's called Patchwork Braids. And it is a table runner. Okay. And so we do this pretty braided effect here. Sorry, writing names down, because if I don't... Yeah, so this is the next quilt seeds. The collection is called Americana Stars. I think the little flowers that we had also done were prairie flowers or something like that. Okay, so this table runner finishes to 13 by 47.5. Okay, so it's pretty long. Okay. And I do have a kit, which, of course, I forgot that over on the other table too. But it's $39.99. It's over on the cutting table over here. Thanks, Mona. Almost one of my very first sewing projects I did had batiks in it. And I almost swore I was never going to sew with batiks again. And this project kind of redeemed it. They actually went really nice for me this time. So these are using the new line of Riley Blake batiks that we got in recently. Okay, so $39.99 has all of your fabrics in here. Okay, I will say some of the cuts are very large, and I left them that way. One, because you're going to look at the pattern and the pattern's a little confusing. Just to try and figure out what colors you do, because they label all of their colors by the colors they use. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm not using yellow. That's this color for me. So, but otherwise the pattern is extremely easy. They're a little bit large, so you're able to kind of use whatever colors. I decided to use the green as the color that goes around my center block. I will say that this sample, I changed my center block a little bit. The center is supposed to have like a chain piece, like an Irish chain kind of a style. I will do that version on live today. But I really wanted to show off the pretty colors in here. So, and you'll have enough fabrics to do this as well. If you wanted to do it this way versus having the smaller pieces, I was afraid I wasn't going to get the whole spectrum of colors that the fabric offers. So I did alter this just a little bit. Okay, so let's get stitching. So I will say that, oh, and I guess I can show the book too. So this is the book that we're working from. So Patchwork Braids, it's got 13 different projects, and they are so cool. And I think we've shown this on Comment Sold, I believe. But it's got some great projects in here. Obviously, it's got the braided theme. Like, isn't this cool? So pretty. And I love the tulips on this one. Like, look at that. Anyways, so in here with the directions, it's got a light set, which is the shorter side, and a darker set, that's the longer pieces. So these ones are shorter than these ones, and so that's where you kind of have to like map out your fabrics basically, and just decide how you want your color way to go. Okay, so you'll be able to do them in whatever way you're wanting, but let's get sewing. Okay, so you're gonna have a bunch of one size strip, which is your lighter fabrics, and a bunch of darker strips, which are your, or a bunch of longer strips, which are your darker fabrics. So you're gonna stitch whatever size of the white rectangles that they say. You're going to stitch them to all of your short pieces and all of your long pieces, except for you. This is called the Zinnia Table Runner, and it's from the Patchwork Braided Book. Okay, so you're going to stitch them all. And these are all the same size, all these whites, and you're going to stitch them to each of your short and your long pieces. You have like 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have 8 of each color, except for the color that you choose to go around your center. Okay, so you'll have an extra set of this color in those short and longer pieces. Okay, and then those ones will not get a white piece. The book is $29.95 before a discount. Okay, and we are making this table runner. It is called the Zinnia. My arms aren't long enough. It's called the Zinnia Table Runner, and it's from a braided pattern book. So it's got a lovely braided look to it. Okay. All right. So once you have all the whites, which I will do one set with you, but that part is like the easiest part. But like I said, this whole pattern is pretty easy. It was just getting my colors together. Okay, and then I don't know if you can see it over here, but I did then lay out my fabrics in the order that I'm going to be stitching them so that I didn't get myself all confused. Okay, so, and this whole set is done. These are the sets that we're not going to be stitching the white ones to. And then moving down, these are the only sets that I need to stitch together. Thanks, Pamela. Oh, I still have my thread that I was using for binding this morning on the machine. So let's change that over. I am using Aurifil today. So I do have that up as well. And I am stitching on the 790 Pro. So I love this machine. Okay, so you're going to take one white and you're going to sew. And this is the other thing I love about batiks, is that even though there's a right and wrong to our white fabric, there is not a right and wrong to our batik. Okay, so I'm just going to stitch one set of short sides together. Get my next piece. You know, I have, this white is consistent throughout the whole thing, so I just chose a creamy thread. I even quilted the project in the cream thread. And I don't think it takes away from all the colors at all. Because it was hard to decide. I looked for a variegated, didn't like any of those. And just decided to stick with the cream. It's kind of hard when you have a project where the colors kind of graduate through a whole spectrum. So figured just stick to something basic. Now, is that the right way to go? Who knows? It worked for me though. All right, so again, you're gonna have whites sewn to the short ends here. And then you're just gonna press them. I pressed everything away from the white. Okay. And then I just covered up my pressing station, so let me clear that up before I press these. Move my fish. All right. Okay, so again, I'm just going to press these and I'm going to press them to each color. You are definitely going to need some kind of pressing station close by because there is a lot of pressing in this. Yep, the batiks are from here. We just got a huge amount. And when I mean huge amount in each store. And so these colors are what we carry. I have the colored names if you want them. All right, so I'm going to put this in my sequence of my colors, and then, so again, you're going to do that for all of your small and longer, I think it's 3 inches and 4.5 inches on your colored braided pieces. So now we're going to make our center block. So to do this, we're going to take our center larger square and we're going to sew the matching. We're going to put a white on the top and bottom. Okay, so we're going to make a unit like this. I think you can see that. You know, I think the hardest part was the getting up and having to press them all. I mean, it actually did not do too bad for me. Okay, so again, we're just going to stitch white on either side, on 2 opposite sides. But of course, now that I've said that on live, something will happen today. Okay, and then when I go to press this, I'm going to press them towards our center square. Okay, so that unit is done. Then we have 2 smaller squares and we have 2 white rectangles. So we're going to attach those on each end. Okay, yeah, those are the same size. Alrighty. When you're putting all of the white strips at the end of all your colored strips, I did it just kind of chain piecing. And I will say that, which I probably should have put it up on today's products, but a blade saver would be a great tool for that. Okay, so now you've got that, and we're going to press these to our away from the white as well. Okay, so then we are going to put our 3 units together to where our squares are in opposite corners of our center unit to give us our little chain effect. And pressing them the way that we did allows the seams to lock in place, which is fabulous. All right, and then we'll add the 3rd strip to the other side. So the center print is not a batik. This was just a cotton, but because of that watercolor look, I was like, oh, this one has to be done with the new batiks. So, and yes, there is a kit for this. It is $39.99, and then the book that the pattern comes from is $29.95, I think, before the discount, but it does have 13 different patterns in it. Okay. Thanks, Laura. Okay, so then when we go to press these seams are going to get pressed again towards the center. Okay. All right, so then We are going to take the color that you've decided. So when you're doing your cutting, you're going to kind of have to determine what color you want to be what goes around your center block. So I chose the green because you will have a couple different cuts depending on what it is that you choose. So, so we are going to stitch and you'll have two different greens. So you'll have a light and a dark, and you'll do the lights side side. Okay, and then we'll do our greens top and bottom.
I brought it here, basically for parts. Okay. You want to get parts or donate? I'm donating. Oh, you're sweet. Okay.
All right, so again, light color is side side, and then dark will be top and bottom. Okay, and we're gonna press these seams toward our side strips. Okay, and then we'll do our darker ones on the opposite sides here. The pattern for the stars is online. I don't remember if I put it up for today, but it should be up for last Friday for sure. The kit though is not. Hi, Ernie. Okay, and then we're going to press these towards our darker strips, and that is our center block. Okay, so then we're going to start building our braid. Okay, so again, you're going to determine what sequence. I like your thinking, Melody. Okay, so you're going to determine your sequence, and you're going to start with your short pieces first. So I'll bring you over here, and I'm going to show you. So I did my pink into my berry, into my peach, into my orange, into my tan, to my brown, and then back to the green. Okay, so we're going to start with the short pieces. It's going to go short, long in your color sequence. Okay, so I'm going to start this way. I'm going to take my first color, that's a short one, and I'm going to line it up with the same 90 degree with my color, not the white side, my colored side. Okay, and we're just going to stitch all the way down this side. It's not going to go all the way down the center block, but that's okay. All right. And then each strip that I add, we're going to press towards that strip. All right, so then there's our first color. So then I'm going to take our next color, which is going to be a longer colored strip. And again, I'm going to line up my colors together in the corner. If I can see. Okay, we're going to line up in the 90 degree corner, and I'd rather start down here and go down to this corner as opposed to flipping the block over and stitching from the other side. So once I have everything lined up, I will start down here at the end. But you always want to make sure that your colored fabrics are always touching. Okay, and then again, we're going to take this and we're going to press towards our new strip. Okay, then we're going to take our next color, which is a short one. Okay, again, colors together. And we'll go down this side. Now, once all of these are attached, we're going to trim it. So I don't want them to be like extremely off, but if like the edges, the very ends are a little weird, or if you cut your white and you notice it's like a little bit longer than some of your other white strips or something like that, we do trim off a little bit. So not the end of the world. Okay, so again, press to our new strip. Okay, I'm gonna grab my orange. Color to color. right, next short color. All right. Thanks, Al. I definitely have fun doing this part. Okay, and then we're gonna press this one, and then we're back into our green to finish this set of repetitions.
My friend who wants to give me her surgery, she said she paid like $400 for it. Hello.
Okay, so we're gonna add our light green again. Okay. And that's why when we started this, I made sure that I had the right sequence going. So I made sure that my light was on the right, my dark was on the left. Okay, and I didn't start it this way where I had a dark here and a light here, because that would have not followed the proper sequence. Okay, so there is a rhyme and reason to all that. Oops. What did I say? Something was going to happen. All right, let me rethread really quick. There we go. All right, so there's our light green. And then we're gonna do our dark green. And this is gonna end, so you're gonna do this exact same thing on both sides of your center block. Okay, so I'm only gonna do half, just because we could be here for forever and a day. I mean, not really, because it's actually a pretty fast sewing. It's just all the pressing. Okay, so then when you have both sides done, Okay, we're going to talk about the trimming here. When you have both sides attached, so you would just flip this around and start the same thing. You do short, long, all the way through, and do a second row of whatever your center block frame color is. Okay, actually, there's a couple more things. Hold on. Okay, I forgot 2 more strips. Okay, so once you're back to the same color that you started around your center block here, you're gonna take a long, there are 2 other strips that you cut. So there's a longer one and a shorter one. And you're gonna do we're gonna start on our short one, our short side, and we're going to line it up so instead of starting it on the colored end, we're going to start it on the white end. Okay. And then wherever it lands up here, which it should land a 1/4 inch past your seam. Okay. So you're going to attach one here. Again, you're matching up the corners where the whites are down here. Okay. Okay, so that was a longer strip. And we'll go ahead and press that. Okay, and then again, this same shelf basically that we create is where we're going to line up, make sure it's right sides together. Okay, then we're going to flip it over to our long side and we're going to do the same thing. The longer strip matching up in the corner of the white. Okay, and then we're going to attach a little white one lined up with the white end here. Okay, and then this is what you need to do on both sides of your center block. Whoa, that one went a little haywire because something happened with my thread. I wasn't sewing anything. Okay, so let me press this and I'll show you what that looks like.
this to show them?
Yeah.
I'll bring it right back.
Okay. So this is what our ends look like with the added white. Okay. So once you have it on both sides, you want to trim it to where you are, make sure I tell you the right measurement and not the wrong measurement. Trim the ends of a block half-inch. So we're going to trim 1/2 inch past our, so this is where it got confusing for me because it says the yellow and the green. Well, their yellow and green is, there is no green even in their thingy, but 1/2 inch in it here. So you're gonna, the last like fully encased in seams point, you're gonna trim it 1/2 inch past that. It is not behaving today. I agree. Okay, so you're gonna cut that on each end. Again, 1/2 inch past your last point. That's in a seam. So this is not in a seam, so I'm not obviously trimming 1/2 inch past that. And then the width, you want to make sure, so I based it on my seams, and you want to make sure you're 9 inches in width. So I did 4.5 this way and 4.5 this way, and you're going to trim down the whole length. Okay, so I do need to trim this right here before, no I don't, we're just going to start. Okay, so then, and that could be the end of your table runner, but ours has 2 extra blocks on the ends, which are kind of cool. It gives a X kind of little feel towards the end here. So you've got like the X of the same colors with the additional blocks. Okay, so to get that started, we're actually going to build outside in, which that threw me off at first. Okay, so to do that, we're going to start with the fabrics that we did not attach the white strips to. Okay, so we're going to take a light one and a dark one. We're going to sew them so that they'll look like this. Okay, so I'm going to put them right sides together. Okay. And then pressing this open. It looks, so there's the beginning of our center block, basically. Just like how we started it in the same type of sequence. Okay? All right. So then we're going to go and we're going to take our next short one. Nope. So this one, because we're going outside in, my colors are going to be backwards. So instead of starting with the pink, I'm starting with the browns. And that way, just the braid will basically be mirror image at that X intersection when we sew the end blocks on. Okay, then you're just going to open this. Okay, we're going to attach our long strip over here. All right. Then we'll get our next short one. All right, working through here. And so this one's gonna again start with that same color that we went around the center block with and end with the same color. So because I chose green, I started with the green and I'm gonna end with the green. I almost did pinks, but I think, I don't know, for whatever reason, the green was calling my name a little bit more. All right, and then of course you're gonna do 2 of these because you're gonna add this as a block to each side. All right, let's see if it. Yep. Okay. Got a thread stuck around my foot. All right, what is happening here? There we go. Okay, try that again. Okay, so here I am ending with the same color that I started. All right, and you're basically going to trim this the same way. So, obviously our green won't be what the point that we base it on. It'll be the one before it. So in this case, the pinks. And we are going to add those white strips to the end here, just like we did before with our center braided piece. Okay, let me press all of this. Okay, so then again, we're going to put a long one on this side, a long white one, match up the white ends. And then a white short one. Okay, flip this over, add whites to this side. Okay, so then again, you would go and press these, and then when we go to trim, it's going to be 1/2 inch again past the fully seamed in point. Okay, so we trim off about this much, and we want the width of our blocks to be 9 inches. Okay, sorry, I saw that I kind of lost connection there. But once they're all trimmed, then you're going to sew you have your center braided piece, attach these 2 blocks to the ends, okay? And then you're going to have a top bottom long sashing piece or border piece, which is still all the same cream, and 2 side sides, and then you'll just bind or quilt and bind, and you'll be all done. Okay, Mo took my sample, so I don't have it to show, but it will be thanks. Okay, so here is my horrible quilting, but here is where my seams are. Okay, so again, it kind of mirror images itself with the colors that it goes away from each other. Okay, so it's a really pretty project. I'm glad I took the challenge because it is not my normal type of sewing. All right, you guys, thanks so much for sticking around, and I don't know who has live the next 2 days, but I will see you again on Friday. All right, thanks, bye-bye.